Safety first. Safety first. We all care about safety. We all care about safety. All right. Well, that looks like it worked. This is the thing I was doing in the afternoon at work today. If I comment this out. Okay. Is indexing the nil value a safety feature? Maybe. You know, let's refresh our nil value here. Oh, whoops, I did that wrong. Yeah, that's release compiler, which isn't rebuilt yet. We're using debug right now. Okay, that's great. Let's try it with a bigger number. Okay, let's just do that. We don't have a C. Okay, let's recompile without those parentheses. Oh, it's not detecting it. Okay, whatever. Whatever, man. Okay, but if we fit it, okay, that should not fit into U32 either. Indeed. What if it's U32 and we try to cast it to S32? Seems like it's working. So now we get to run this on Sokoban and see what all the cast bound check failures are. We could actually make it not panic right now. What if we did that? Like, if we do that, and then we make our test, see that we return correctly. Oh, we'll see if we print this. Okay. So I could make a non-fatal mode. And no, we're just going to have it on or off. So we want to build the game. And then we'll just see. Oh my God. Oh my God, look at all these cast bounds checks. We're going to be cast bound check clean. Key map line 243. Aha. Thing on the right is a negative number. Because we're using, okay. Right. We're like casting it to a positive number, which is a sign overflow. So we could do this. Or, how often do I do this? Yeah. What's the best way to do this in a non-annoying fashion? I mean, okay, wait, is that really, that shouldn't be the case anyway. Like what if we just take off that? Is that like really not a thing we can do? Oh, it's S64. Except, see, this should be a known at compile time constant. it shouldn't be an unknown S64. It should be a constant that we know that gets constant folded and that is known. Oh no, right, because it is negative. It is negative. I mean, this is a language semantic right now that, like, if we do an unsigned number, we don't have unsigned plus signed. Like, we always cast the other number to the first number. And maybe that's not good. I'm glad you enjoy the streams. Glad you enjoy the streams. So this is a weird, now that we're being more strict about things, this is a weird case. Like, what does C do? Like, if you have an unsigned number and you add a signed number, I assume it's just not really specified, at least in old style C, because you know that you just add the 2's complement thing. I could just do this. We'll see if this issue comes up a lot, then we'll think about changing that. I'd like to be evidence-based about it. What are the alternatives to the casting of the second number? Well, you could just say that addition of an unsigned and a signed number is well defined as its own thing, right? Like, you could just generate assembly instructions for that, And then you just check for underflow after the addition. I don't know, man. Yeah, it's not clear to me what the answer should be there. Okay, so the key map stuff should be gone. Woohoo, mesh loading. Shader catalog, 798. Okay, I think I need to support this. Because AutoCast, yeah. We don't support this when parsing AutoCast right now yet. Let's look at the mesh catalog or mesh. Uh-oh. Okay, we'll look at that one separately. That looks like we're ORing something. I don't know. It's like this left shifted 24. I mean, these are just things getting sent to the shader. So again, it's like not bad, but is absolute value not used in C? What? What? So like indices, oh, it's indices is unsigned. The blend matrix index. I mean, I guess we do this here too. Okay, so we have to support that in the parser before we can compile again. Okay, so we're going to say parse success is parse comma modifiers on cast okay. Oops. What did we do wrong? A bool success. Okay, well that's minor. Very minor mistake. Okay. So must be followed by an expression. Okay, that's a weird... Oh, we forgot to call it. That's another minor mistake. Okay, wait, that shouldn't be there. Let's kick off a rebuild because we changed it. The whole point was to put that on XX. All right. Cool. Triangle mesh, 1734. Get a U4B. Temp is a U32. See, so far, we haven't actually caught any legitimate bugs. So far, we've just been making our program cast clean in a way. So we'll see. We'll see over time if this helps us find legitimate bugs. Oops. X times minus X. That's a very good hash function. Very good. That's the best hash function in the world. Light probe. I kind of wonder if autocast on a constant is a special case. Like autocast on something like -1 at least is a special case where it's like, look, I want the bit pattern. But this is a weird thing to do though. Like we're comparing an unsigned value against the unsigned version of -1. So like, yeah, I think that's fine actually. It's a weird thing to do. It should look weird. Hey, we're not spamming, but we've got another light probe, 159. It's probably the same issue, but in a less exercised code. Oh, there we set it. Okay. Let's see if we could run around and make some things happen and get some more of these. Same light probe file. Okay, let's just restart. And we can, here's what we do. We're going to run it. Whoops, we don't want to do that. We want to do this to output.txt. And we're just going to Benny test for a little bit. Maybe not even that long, and we're going to see what shows up in the file. Trying to get it kind of visible. There we go. Any questions about what's going on? Would I explain why adding trunk? Because trunk means I meant to do that, basically. Is this a user level warning or a compiler level warning? What do you mean by user level or compiler level? It is a runtime check inserted by the compiler on all casts, all numeric casts, if you ask for it at compile time to be inserted. All right, let's see what we got. Light probe 259, I'm sure that's the same one. Those are the only ones so far. We could, in cases like that, statically know that it's going to cast bounds check fail. And save you some time. Do we implicitly promote integers that are safe? Yes. Yes. Light probe 259. Still the only one. That's pretty good. I mean, I'm not sure I feel great that we haven't caught any actual errors, but there's something to be said for having morale that things don't happen, you know. And for making your code more self-documenting, like, look, here we're doing a weird thing with the numbers. Not entirely unexpected. Those would be pretty rare errors. Maybe, I mean, I don't actually know is the thing. Like, how do I know my program hasn't been silently doing something bad the whole time? Still light probe. Light probing. I think while this is going, I think we're going to change this. So cast bounds check is going to go off non-fatal and fatal. I mean, ideally at some point, you could control this just for certain modules or whatever, but we don't have a way to do that right now. Version 2 will let you control it per module. There's also some stuff. There's a manual cast bounce.
Telling the truth is a scary. Telling the truth is a scary predicament. Telling the truth is a bitter herb. Telling the truth, when you get out of that tunnel, it's black life. Forget herb. I never heard of it. The word herb. The truth is dangerous. Dangerous. Dangerous business. Telling the truth can be dangerous business. Why? 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 Telling the truth can be dangerous business because if yourself, you don't know why. Huh? Well, I'm just giving you what the idea is. Telling the truth can be dangerous business. If you don't know yourself, then you don't know why. Oh, is that brilliant? Telling the truth can be dangerous business. Honest and popular don't go hand in hand. If you admit that you can play the accordion, no one will hire you in a rock and roll band. But we can sing our hearts out. And if we're lucky, when no neighbors complain.
Okay. Should you change compiler settings.h? Yes, I'm in the middle of this change. I was just also saying there's a manual version of this, a user level version that Ignacio did that, you know, I want to change over to this as well. So we shouldn't forget to do that. But yeah, so. I mean, if I don't change this, well, actually, okay, never mind. I certainly need to change this. Why am I not seeing this? Oh, because it's called something different. Duh. Off, non-fatal, and fatal is 2, and I mean, should we make it fatal by default? Let's make it non-fatal by default for a bit, and then we'll see. going. And then, so when we check the mode, we want to say not equal to off. And that's going to be set to 1 or 0 if it is fatal. Where's report type defined? What? Where is it? Report warning. Report error. Keep wanting to do my ifs without parens. Okay. So this will make it a warning if we have non-fatal set and we hit one in bytecode. And then in x64, okay, so the fatal flag is right after post flags. If fatal panic, we got to go here. Oh no, I didn't check this in from work. All right. We'll just do it again here and we'll revert tomorrow. Cast bounds check. Mode. Off. Off. Okay. Still going because it's the debug build. So. Light probe, light probe. So much light probe. Did we even fix this one? I think we did. Okay, here's what we do. No, I can't. It won't let me edit it while it's going. You know, I really should have just fixed that one and then restarted. I mean, we can wait till it's done and then replace that out of the buffer. Yeah, we did get that one. How many programming languages does this game have? Just one. Well, the animation language is almost a programming language. If the game pauses while minimized, not currently. It's just taking a while to go through here. Because it's debug mode. I don't think you're supposed to be able to... I think that's a bug that you could squeeze past that rover there. Unless you had the zapper beam, and you just can't tell in that replay. You're supposed to require the zapper beam to get by the rover. I think. Now I don't remember. Yeah, the documentation is pretty scarce. It makes it hard to deal with. Isn't there a strong beam? Yes, but one strong beam by itself is only supposed to be enough to prevent you from getting pushed. It's not supposed to let you push the thing. Although, wait, if you have a zapper, then you can just solve the puzzle trivially. So I don't remember. It must not be true that you're supposed to need the zapper, because you're supposed to be able to get that gem by opening the red door and going in from the other side and not having to zap anything. I don't know, dude. I'll have play it again sometime. I suppose it's possible that there are errors that we had to debug that took time, that a cast bounds check would have helped us find sooner, maybe, in theory. I don't know. We're going to have to see if it helps. Camera just can't keep up. IBL, what does IBL stand for? Irritable bowel lighting? Program to this music on loop. What's up, George? How's it going? I was watching some BRs after I got home from work on Twitch, and every single battle royale seems to have shitty networking today for some reason. It's like all the ISPs in the US or all the server farms decided to just simultaneously lower quality, maybe even yesterday on July 1st. And then, yeah, like Apex Legends, man. That was such a freaking hit game, and they just dropped the ball on it. And nobody seems to be having fun with it today. Like, I was watching these streamers stream because it was, it's the season 2. So the viewers are going to be excited, and the streamers all want to get the excited viewers. And like, dude, nobody's having any fun that I saw. And like, the game's not that different, so it's not like there's anything new. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a dead game. I hate to say it, because it was so exciting. Remember how exciting and fresh Apex Legends was when it came out in February? 5 months ago? We're still not done with this level. Everyone became too good. It wasn't fun anymore. I do think, yeah, this goes back even to the launch. I think Apex Legends is tuned for people who are bad at the game and or who play on console, which is basically the same thing. That goes back to the original tuning of like Wingman and Longbow being OP, because if you can aim, they're just too good. And like now, just stuff like the radius, like the sound radius and the speed at which you move and all that. Like if there are a lot of good people in the server, it's just a third-party slaughter. Like you can't like do anything organized because you get jumped on as soon as you do anything. So if everybody's bad at the game in the server, that doesn't happen because people don't like actively chase down combats, or if they do, they can't do anything about it. But if you're playing with a bunch of good people, it's just unpleasant. It just makes it feel really random. Yeah, Choco plays Fortnite. Yeah, that's very sad. To Quake 3. Yeah, I agree. Like Blackout also. I liked Blackout for a while, but it's just too Quake 3. And that subtracts a lot of other things from the game, you know. Yeah, also 3 players is an odd group size, literally. But like, it's a weird, yeah. Especially after you play like Blackout or PUBG and you have your 4 friend groups, and then like, sorry, 4th friend, we're playing Apex. Used to play COD up to 5 people. Yeah. Dude, we're still going. Maybe we need to make a shorter replay of Promised. I mean, it would have already been done now if we weren't running in debug build at like half speed. Let me crank the speed up again. It's just, that was giving us some audio cutout problems, so. Just trying to get BFG Division into the song list. Yeah. It just doesn't totally fit. It's the problem. As much as I like BFG Division. What are my thoughts on MOBAs? I really don't think about them. Hey, we got past it. Now we're on the other levels. Looking forward to Doom Eternal? No. It's just too, like, it's too 12-year-old-y for me. Like, I don't mind a dark, moody game, but it's like, it thinks that I want to watch my character stick his thumb in Demon's eyes and pop its brains out, like, over and over and over again, thousands of times. And, like, I don't, like, that's not that interesting. It's kind of gross. And I'm offended that they think I want to see that 1,000 times. You know, and it bums me out because the gameplay is probably going to be good. But I just don't want to play it. I like Doom 2016 okay. Like, I agree it's not original Doom. It was, okay, Doom 2016 is single-player Quake 3 with demons. Okay, that's what it is. I haven't seen that many game reviewers call it out, but that's exactly what it is. It's single-player Quake 3 with demons. That's probably what Doom 2019 will be as well. And that's a thing. Like, it's a fine thing. But it's just too gross now. Like, I don't know why they think that I want that. It's what happens when all the original people are gone and others interpret the IP. Well, that's for sure. But let's face it, though. It could be way worse, dude. Like, way worse. I mean, what are some franchises that had way worse things happen? I'm sure we could think of some. I never played the later CNC games. Oh, we're done finally. All right. All right, people, let's go and see if there's anything else here besides. So we're going to replace this with nothing. And then we're going to go cast bounds. There is no other cast bounds check failure in this entire file. All right. So, however, that doesn't mean there isn't one in the editor. So now we're going to sort of run in the editor. Oh, we got one. In font. See, that's the thing about exercising code. Is sometimes you need to try something different. Okay. Signed 16-bit. 671. Oh, that's too high. That's just way too high. $10.51. Data.ascent. So we're casting to S16. See, this is the thing, is if you make cast bound checks fatal, like all this code here could fail and crash your program if you feed it a bad font, because it's just like, well, I expected this number to be small enough, but it's not. So we need to see. We need to see what the right policy is there. But at least knowing about them is good. So what? It might be that there are intentionally more bits at the top of this. Horrid bearing Y. This is the horizontal disk from the current cursor position to the leftmost border of the glyph image's bounding box. Is it a negative number, maybe? I mean, I guess not, but... FT pause. It says S32 or S64. What? Why are these different? That's insane. It claims S32. But like, all right. I'm just going to put a trunk there. This may be a bug. What's my opinion on games preservation? I don't know. I mean, should we not preserve games? Like, what are you looking for? Braid and The Witness are on sale at GOG and Steam right now. That is true. That is true. You can get them for not very much money. You can get those games. You can get them for a mere small amount of currency. Not on Epic Store? Well, you know, different stores schedule sales at different times. I think Epic Store had a sale recently. I don't even keep track that much. You wonder how much Braid is selling these days? Not a lot. Witness sells way more than Braid today, but that's exactly what you would expect. It's a much newer game. Oh no, The Witness was free on the Epic Store. They're pirating our game, man. Tim Sweeney is pirating my game. Next thing you know, they're gonna clone it and like put colorful characters in it who like dance. You wish you had a game to sell, Tim. Yeah. Yeah. Do I still watch Samuel Andreev's videos about music composition? I've got a backlog there for sure. I've just been busy doing stuff like important safety features on the compiler, so not as much as I would like to. Not as much as I would like to. Okay. Okay. So I feel like I'm going to check this in. And then we're going to do some things to optimize it a little. So for example, we're always generating these checks for every numeric cast. The thing is, sometimes we don't need them because we already know the cast is safe, right? Although usually in those cases, you probably wouldn't see a cast operator, but you know, sometimes that can happen. Okay, before I do that, before we move on, are there any on-topic questions from people who have been watching enough to follow along about what is going on with the casting or what issues there might be? Serious questions. Serious questions. No Kappa questions. I know people like to ask Kappa questions, but it gets tiring for me. It gets tiring. Why all the casting? People cast in programs. Hmm. 3FF FFFE. Right shifted 6. is FFFF. Yeah, so it seems like it's just, it seems like they just put a really big number in that value. Maybe we just don't handle numbers big enough. Seems not right though. I think it's just a mistake in the font. How am I able to display the real value since it didn't fit in the data type? Well, I mean, we also know the value from before we tried to fit it, right? In order to do the operation to fit it, like we check when we do the cast. So we know the source of the cast and we know the target of the cast, right? So it's very easy. It just, in bytecode, you have each of those things in different registers, then you check whether they're the same. Okay. Should I do that first? No. What I should do first is get rid of the to thing. Let's do that. Let's run the tests. Wait, are we even? Yeah, we're on release compiler. See if we get any cast bounds failures on the tests, actually. Forgot to do that. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Cast bounds checks failed. Whoa, and then intrinsics dot what? All right, well, enum union structs line 110. Oh, this is just a dumb thing that we're doing just to do it. Because like we're printing what happens when you print out flags. So yeah. Okay, why is intrinsics barfing? That's really weird. What does any of this have to do with anything? Big data.data. What? Does our debug compiler die there? Our debug compiler doesn't even build right now because we messed something up. What was it? Wait, what? Did I not correctly compile since I did this? That would mean our entire non-fatal doesn't work correctly yet. Report type Lexer. What? Do I not have the overload that I want? Report type message. Report type Lexer. Well, I just have to make a frickin' new one. Damn it. Look at how many frickin' overloads of these things that we have. Does report VA list. Okay. I mean, I'm just going to cut this down. Like, seriously. Report. Oh no, because we have to do the frickin' varargs. Dude, varargs suck. In this language. Okay, I think that's right. Like, of all these things that C++ could have fixed, fix that. Maybe they did by now. I don't know. How do you track your tasks for the day? Yeah, sometimes I write things down to do, but those lists quickly get longer than I can reasonably do. So, you know, I just try to get everything done that needs to be done. It's barfing in the same place. Am I able to run these one at a time? I don't think I can. I'm going to have to figure out how to run this program again. Like what? Really? Intrinsics 175. Why would that crash? All I can think is either we broke compare and swap somehow. Or I don't even know what. Like how provided we give that a valid memory address, which it should be because it's on the stack, like, how is that going to fail? I mean, it's polymorphic. And what does this have to do? If I build it not in x64, does it succeed? They fix varargs with templates. Yeah, but what if I don't want to use templates? What if I just want to function with varargs? It's like it doesn't make any sense to say, oh, you have to use templates to use. And by the way, template varargs are also terrible. They're just terrible in a different way. It's like they just couldn't do the obvious thing. What's the official name? Variadic templates? Yeah, those are awful. Yeah, like, thanks, guys. Thanks, C++ committee. That's exactly what I wanted. I don't even know how this test program works. Is this... I guess it's dying when running the thing. Which would mean maybe one of our cast checks is generating bad code that is crashing it. That's really all I can think of. Yeah, C++ in the 80s and early 90s, it was not good. It was not good. I remember a friend of mine in college was trying to learn C++, and like he was just getting screen-sized error messages from, you know, when you're first learning a programming language, you're going to do stuff wrong, and it was awful. And he was like trying to use a thing. The C++ compiler was a thing that pre-processed you into C and ran the C compiler on it. So of course that's entertaining when things go wrong. All right. So we have a problem. Houston, we have a problem. I guess now I have to figure out how to build this on one thing again and then hope that only execute standard tests. Okay. So the one that was, hold on. Let's just do this again. Okay. So we want intrinsics. Okay. Boom. Good. We still have a crash? That's good. I guess we're just going to run the debugger on that. Because, like, who knows? Do we have that already? We do. Let's see what happens. Exception. Access violation, reading location -1? What? What are you talking about, Willis? Maybe it's in the line before? Okay. Nope, it's trying to do the compared interlock exchange. RDI. That's not -1. Okay, now I have to remember what the hell this instruction does. Comp exchange 16B. Compare RDX, RAX with M128. Okay, but like, that's RDI. I mean, maybe it's like right at the edge of the stack and we need like more. I mean, it's able to read the value. Oh, wait, is there an alignment on this? That requires the destination operand be 16-byte aligned. This is not... this is not 16-byte aligned, bro. Bro. How has that not been crashing lately? That's so weird. Okay, well, this is not legal. It's just our test. Can I do an align directive? I think we have that. I just don't know if it works on stack variables. Really? We don't? I thought we did. I thought we had an alignment directive. Directive name, align. Wait, is this? Directive align. Pending align directive. I mean, what? Let's just try it. I don't really know if that's going to work. Well, sometimes you did things and it surprises even you. Wait, why did that? Why did that run all these other things? That was weird. I think there was a bug in that selective file thing. All right. So that was just a bug in the test. It had nothing to do with anything we were working on. Yeah, why didn't it exhibit before now? I don't know. Has nothing to do with casting. Things accidentally aligned. Maybe, but I don't think so, because here's the thing. On x64, at least in the C calling convention, and I think in every calling convention, you have to be 16-byte aligned plus 8 on the entry to the procedure, because the ret instruction wants you to be aligned that way. Because to pop the thing off the stack and use it, for some reason, it wants that alignment. I'm pretty sure, right? So every procedure starts at the same alignment, and then if you don't edit the sizes of the data structures in the middle of the procedure, they shouldn't change in size. Maybe there's some data structure in there that's like global that we changed. Like maybe there's a build options, and I added something to build options to make it bigger because we added a build option for controlling the cast checks. Okay. I should at least, just for paranoia purposes, make a release build of the game, because that is what people run. This shouldn't have any cast bound checks. So, you know, there really shouldn't be a problem, but we all know that doesn't mean there isn't actually a problem. Should and shouldn't are different things. Or should and is Yeah. I mean, it works, right? All right. Pretty much works. So we're just going to check it in. Okay, we'll hope that doesn't explode. Explode. So now I want to get rid of this to routine. Wherever that is. Here. See, this is just like, it's asserting that this is between the min and the max of a given type. And like, it's just to do what we built in. And the reason I didn't really like this is that it doesn't like look like a cast. And why, yeah. So we're just gonna, I mean, I don't know about as. This is so, I just look at this and I'm like, this is putting so much stress on the compiler to do all this stuff. Like, do we really have to do all this? I don't know. I don't know, man. Like, what? Okay, so we weren't using clamp here. We were using signed. If signed is just support for that, we're gonna not put it for now. All right. Like, what? I mean, I guess that's just, yeah, that's just cast int. All right. It especially doesn't make sense because if 2 is supposed to check for overflow, a bool cast to anything, it's 0 or 1, like that fits in everything else. So I don't understand the usage of it here, but maybe it was just like a blanket port from some other, I don't know. I don't know, man. Have to ask Ignacio what that's about. maybe it had different semantics in whatever it was ported from. Okay, signed is, wait, there's another, wait, 2 is still there, what? I accidentally undeleted it. All right. So like, see, is using it on float here, and it doesn't do anything on float. Or wait, signed. Wait, what does 2 do on float? Oh, I guess it is checking for overflow on floats, which we're not currently doing. That's a weird thing because you could, I guess you could check that. Like, hey, this float 64 is way too big of a magnitude for you to fit into float 32. But like, that's not actually the problem you're ever going to have. The problem you're going to have is that your precision is going to go away. And like, how do you make a good check for that? I don't actually know. Yeah, the game uses SVN for editing. Yeah, Fortnite I can't watch either, man. I just can't get into it. But I understand. I mean, the dude's been playing PUBG like full-time, 40 hours a week, more probably, for 2 years or however long the game's been out. And, you know, for the same reason I don't want to play it, like the game just poops on you with like bad servers and bad networking and weird bugs. Like, I understand him not wanting to play PUBG anymore. I get it. Okay. So these are just going to be cast, and we're going to leave it open about what we do there about that. So here we're just asserting that the length of this name is not that long. Yeah. So I guess his policy here was just like, look, anytime we cast, we want that to be checked, so we're going to use this 2 thing. And even if it doesn't make that much sense in context, just the fact that you use it consistently gives you a certain amount of morale, you know? I'm not sure why he's casting to float first. I would think you'd want to do that subtract with the greater precision, whatever. Whatever, man. Like, wouldn't you want to do the subtract and then cast to float? I don't know. All right. See, this is the same variable here. Colors.count times size of U32 casted to U32. I mean, am I wrong? Am I wrong about that? Like, same thing here, man. Buffer size. Exact same pattern. It's like it was pasted. Look at all these twos, man. I'm glad we checked in before doing this. So now we're going to have hang in parentheses. Anyway. Okay. Scrape map. Just cranking through all these. Just cranking. Cranking. Hey, we're down to one page. Okay. Good news. Let's hope we didn't break something. Render bitmap, not bitmap render. Texture GL. Oops. Okay. Great. Great. What's been going on in chat while I do all these things? I quit high-paying jobs, had a lot of money and rich friends, and it let me spend years on Braid. Very unique situation. That is true. That is all true. See your previous question. I'm scrolling way up. Oh. Taking a leap of faith right now, quit your job and focusing on game dev for a while since you built up some runway. Anything you wish you would have known ahead of time when you did so yourself? I mean, I've done that multiple times in life. The first time was not financially successful. Um, what I wish I'd known at that time was how to do business better the first time. Um, the braid time, I don't really have any complaints. I would just say having a very realistic idea of how much work it takes to finish a game actually and how hard you really need to go is very instructive. But it's not really something that you get not having done it, right? Like it's a lot of work. Even if you quit your job and you're working full time, it's a lot of work. Is any of my code from past games open somewhere to take notes? Not really. Why doesn't CL understand cap directories? Because Windows. Even if you don't make your own engine, yes. Making games is a lot of work, even if you don't make your own engine. Why did I burn out on my first job? Because it was a great deal of work and we failed in many respects. It was good for learning how to program, but we were starving for 4 years and went out of business. And, well, I don't know. There's other factors. Yeah, Wolf 3D took 6 months. I mean, Doom took, what, 8 months? Something like that. But, like, let's be clear. Nobody would pay money for Wolf 3D today, right? Now, it's easier to make Wolf 3D than it was when they made Wolf 3D. It's a lot easier today to make the equivalent game. But, like, no one's going to pay for that, so... Am I actually going to run it? Maybe. Maybe. Maybe we'll just compile it a bunch of times. You know? Like, why run it? Ta-da. A ton of people just paid for Mario. Yeah, but that's Mario. Dude, people have been paying for Mario regardless of what game it actually is. You just put the name Mario on it and people buy it. Right? George Broussard could take a poop and put it in a box and call it Super Mario Poop and people would buy it. That's a reference to a quote of his that I can't really say where it's from, but Pooper Mario, it was right there. Yeah, it's true. Why do I think that Linux is bloated? Okay. What is Linux? It is some software to let you run programs on your computer, right? That is the point of it. It's to let you run other programs. how many lines of code should such a thing be in the abstract, right? How many programs should come pre-installed on such a system, right? When you start it up and you just log in, how many things should be running in the background that you don't even know what they are? What are the answers to those questions? Pick reasonable numbers, and they're all way lower than the reality. Anyone who doesn't understand that, I don't know. It's like I live in a different reality from people who don't understand that. And this is nothing specific about Linux, actually. Like, you could say the same thing about Windows, probably to a greater degree. Windows is probably way more source code than Linux. I don't even know. You could say the same thing about macOS, right? It's not a Linux specific thing. It's everything today. Opinions on Gothic 3 with mods? I don't know. I mean, I haven't played it, Gothic 3 with mods. Gothic 3 was not really the good Gothic game. So, I don't know, man. Okay, we're going to put that in. Should have done the check-in in the other order, but whatever. That's why you use a minimum Linux, because you don't want all that crap that starts up in Ubuntu. Yeah, even a minimum Linux is like at least 50 times as much stuff as you should actually have. I'm not exaggerating that number. A minimum Linux is still insane. Yeah, PSOX pipe WC-L returns 254 processes. Dude, I remember when I was in college and we would do PS and there would be like 18 things and we're like, what the hell? What is all this stuff running in the background? All right. I'm going to write an email to the team about what I just did. Memory and CPU is free. What's not free is your time when your computer acts buggy or wastes your time, or etc. Or when it takes longer to do things than you wanted. Okay. I just implemented cast bounds checks on x64 and bytecode to be complete. We will also need to implement these on the LVM backend, but that shouldn't be too hard. It's simpler than array bounds checks, and of course, the relevant logic can be mostly transcribed from the x64 backend. You can turn these bounds checks off, or have them report in fatal and non-fatal modes. By default, right now, we report as non-fatal, which just means that stuff goes to standard error. This is a little annoying when it comes to logging, probably, but when I put all this stuff into runtime support instead of runtime support.c, we should be able to have the handlers for bounds checks should be able to access stuff like the context, which means we could call context.logger, which would be great. So I will be doing that next. I suspect it may be a good idea to wait a couple of days on the LVM version until this switch over happens. Right now, we generate calls for C routines and maybe it is a little different to call native routines. We'll see. How big is the team now? We just had 2 people leave because I think we were about 14 people, and then 2 people left because somebody just gave them a game company with legendary games in its portfolio and said, hey, run our game company now and own it and decide the future of it. And they said, okay, and I just can't tell them not to do that. So now I think we're down to about 12. What studio? It's named after a color. Will I open source the rewind system in Braid? It doesn't really make sense to do that because it's not like you could use it in something else. It's like very, very tied to the whole rest of the program. Valve. Yep, it's totally Valve. Totally Valve. Black Mesa. Valve makes chess games. You didn't put quotes around the word chess. You have to put quotes around the word chess. Okay. I went through the code and changed all uses of to use casts again. this, it's in an isolated check-in. But it seems cleaner just to use casts if they do the same check-in. Right now the casts only check. There are a few things that are not done incomplete. Integer conversions. We don't check floats. I'm not sure what to do there. You can certainly check for what happens when you cast a really big float 64 down to something that won't fit within the exponent of a float 32. However, that is not the problem that in reality anyone is ever going to have. Really, the problem is just that people cast to something that hoses all their precision. Hard to check for that. We always generate checks for numeric conversions. We don't yet do the optimization where if we can statically determine the cast isn't going to isn't potentially lossy. We skip generating the check, but this shouldn't result in very much extra code being generated right now, because these are the same cases where you don't need a cast operator in the first place, so no such places in the code, just won't have one. Uh-oh. I'm a fibber. Okay. Okay, we're gonna, so for implicit casts, you shouldn't ever need, we're like generating way more casts than we should. Okay. So what else needs to happen? We could, in some cases, generate a compile time cast bounds check instead of just a runtime one, which can save time when people do something weird that would need a modifier. For example, xu32 is xx minus 1. This is by default a cast bounds. This would generate a cast bounds check error unless you do but determinable, so it's probably no big deal if that feature goes in. This is going to be a long email, folks. Welcome to Email Writing Theater 3000. Yeah, it's I'm going to do the new syntax. Well, it's really in addition to the it's the old syntax plus. Let's we just rebuild, right? Just make sure this runs. Let's make sure I'm not fibbing. I mean, I don't see how generating fewer casts would cause a problem, but again, you never know. You never know. Also, let's make sure it's working. Build passing. Oh, we didn't get a build passing there, but that didn't modify the compiler source, so I guess maybe, yeah. Don't generate cast checks for implicit casts. Okay. Yes. Okay. That you really, that you know you are doing something weird and that the number may truncate when cast. This looks like so. X is cast trunc U32 A, right? Or cast no check. Both trunc and no check are functionally the same right now. The difference is just in documenting intent. After implementing this, I went over Sokoban and all the tests and fixed the cast bound check errors that exhibited easily. As far as I can tell, none of them known. None of them were actual bugs. Except that a font we used seemed to have a really big value read. So it's hard to say how much this checking helps in reality, but maybe the code is just more self-documenting, or maybe today there are no bugs because they had to be debugged already to get the code working, and it would have been faster to find them with bounds checks. I don't know. I guess we'll see how this plays out over time. I don't know. I feel like that's about everything that I can say. Dude, Emacs has been able to send emails since the 1980s. Okay. Until this switch over. Okay. I'm going to send that to the team, and then, you know, that might be enough work for the night. I mean, it's been a long day. It's been a long day. I think I will also, though, because this is a little bit like when I send emails like this, it's a little bit like documentation for users later. Like, you don't want to send people exactly this email, but it's like, oh yeah, this is a little bit of an explanation of how it works. And it at least functions as part of the list of all the things you're going to need to explain, if not, you know, this exact thing. So for future documentation, cast bounds checks. It's not a folder. Okay. Okay, cool. That's pretty good. this is satisfying. You know, I mean, there's a few more things to do on it. But it's pretty satisfying because I've been thinking for many months, like, oh yeah, we're going to put in cast bounce checks. That'll totally be a thing, etc. Right? Now we've finally done it. Now we can also at some point soon maybe add bounce checks on math operations. However, I kind of wonder how much slower that'll make things. Like it might be so slow that you don't want to turn those on by default. You just want to turn them on in your paranoia build or something. These kind of emails remind you very strongly of Linux. No, there's not enough cursing and calling people idiots and saying Microsoft with a $sign instead of the S. That would remind you strongly of Linux. Do I feel gimped, or are we over the hump and happy to be free? I have been happy to be free of C++ for a long time, except of course that the compiler itself is still in C++. But when I'm programming on the game, I have a really good time. I don't really feel gimped. There are like a couple of features that we don't totally do yet. Like we don't have good struct literals yet, but like that's just not a thing that I use very much. Like if I had to do it, if I needed to use it one day, I would just put it in the language. I would say, you know, our debugger support isn't quite as good. That's, you know, it's getting better generally all the time. And our, you know, just like my syntax highlighting in Emacs like isn't that good, but I just haven't fixed it because I don't want to write Emacs Moon language in order to fix it. I'm just using what a fine viewer sent me like 2 years ago. But most things are good, you know, like I really like it. I mean, I don't know what that means about if anyone else will really like it, but I really like it, so. Have I considered hiring a tools developer for IDEs? No. No. I mean, we might do that eventually. Like syntax highlighting for common editors. Like we'll probably have a place where you can like look up stuff like that. Like what editor do you use? Here's a config for it. But like Are we going to make an IDE? I don't think so. Because I don't think IDEs are a good idea. I don't think they work very well. I think in general, they cause more problems than they solve. Is XX no check -1 common enough that it deserves its own symbol keyword? Forgive me the max value for whatever type is on the left. We actually already have that. I mean, it's not a keyword, but you could say max of whatever. We could have done that in those cases. I just kept the translation literal. But you can say, yeah, what is the highest? I mean, somebody wrote a max function. Ignacio wrote a max function that you could use for that if you wanted to. Can I explain my view of the problem with IDEs? Watch the speech that I gave in Moscow. That has a little section on IDEs. Yeah, I also don't think they hold up. I don't understand why people think IDEs are a thing, honestly. Doesn't make sense to me. Yes, the collapse of Civilization 1. Is there a video that's actually listenable? Yes, there has been for many weeks. Just look for the one on YouTube that has like 90,000 views. That's the listenable one. There's actually multiple listenable ones. Having all the tools integrated is a plus for many people. I mean, what tools? Like, I mean, I want a debugger and I want an editor. The thing is, that editor, I want to be cross-platform. I want it to be the same on every platform, right? Because I use it. So the more it's integrated with other things, the more likely that that whole suite of stuff is not going to be on every platform. So most people think IDE equals autocomplete. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't use autocomplete. I understand why people like it. I think of autocomplete as an editor feature, not really an IDE feature. Having version control integrated is nice. I don't think so. Dude, I don't want an IDE going anywhere near version control. No. I mean, okay, version control integration makes more sense when you use the poopy kind of version control that locks files and nobody else can use them. But like, you shouldn't be doing that. That's terrible. It prevents everybody from working. So don't use that. Yeah, if you use Git, then why do you want version control integrated with your editor? That like doesn't really make sense to me. Or your debugger? What? Why should your debugger know about version control? Clicking buttons. Okay. See what's changed in a nice UI, but like all these visual diff programs are separate from your editor. Use Perf for work. You have to check out files before you edit them, but not even then. You want version control in your editor. Yeah, I don't like that checkout model, man. I don't like it. Am I ready for a raid? You know, I think we're ending the stream soon because I'm just sitting here kind of vegging and answering questions. And we got good work done today. We could go watch people being bored playing Apex Legends. When's Witness 2 coming out? In a long time. Hello, welcome raiding people. We will not be here long, probably. Have I had any other thoughts on what kind of an OS I would actually want to use? No, I mean, I've already said everything relevant, I think. I'd rather watch me be bored watching people be bored playing Apex Legends. That could work. Have I ever entered a programming contest? A couple, but only way back when I was in college. Like, literally the 1990s. Like, the first half of the 1990s. Oh, I also, when I was a kid in high school, a magazine had like a game contest, and I made a text adventure, and I won something in that. Did I do any DOS programming like Mode 13H stuff? Not really. I might have done a very small amount of that in like 1996, but very quickly switched to Windows. Maybe none of that. Like, I definitely remember reading about it in Mike Abrash's columns, but I'm not sure if I ever did that. Everybody, I think it's time for me to go to bed. think tomorrow maybe I start doing the cast bounds checks, the extra features, like statically determining a problem. That's probably the most important one. Thinking about if we're going to do it for floats. Yeah. Did I see the weird Windows 1.0 announcement? No. Thanks, everybody. And we'll probably stream some more over the next couple days. It's been good. Have a good night.